everyone, this is Chantal from glutenfreecooking123.com, and today we are going to make gluten-free Pop Tarts. So, the first thing that you are going to need, if you don't have it yet, is my super flaky gluten-free pie crust. So, if you haven't made it yet, I have a video on it, and I will link it in the description box below and in the iCards up here. And also I have a recipe up on my blog for it, so you can follow either one of them. We are going to need the gluten-free flour blend. I will also include the link for this flour blend down in the description box below. Also, of course, we're going to need sugar for the glaze. I have here red raspberry preserve. You can use strawberry preserve or any kind of preserve that you want. Some vanilla, milk, any kind of milk that you want, and measuring cups, rolling pin, measuring spoon, all that stuff. So get that stuff ready and let's start. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lightly flour our work surface. Just enough so that we can roll the pie crust on it. And this pie crust is gonna make amazing gluten-free Pop Tarts. I'm also going to put a little bit of flour just on top, a tiny bit. Rub it in so that the rolling pin does not stick to it. And I'm also going to flour the rolling pin. This pie crust is cold, so you kind of need to press a little. And as you roll, you want to move it, lift it, and roll so that the pie crust doesn't stick to the work surface. You don't want to roll it too thin because you want the Pop Tarts to have somewhat of a thick pie crust to them so that you can have those flakes, which will make the Pop Tarts delicious, and you're not just eating the jam on its own. So I like to make it about a 1/4 inch thick, between a 1/4 and 1/8 inch thick. I also have this pan with a a silicone pad. You can also use a pan lined with parchment paper. And I'm going to cut out squares of about 4 inches in length and 3 inches in width. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, there, so I can make one out of this. They're not even equal size, but it's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? And we are going to lay them over here on this pan, and I'm going to make some more. I forgot one more thing. A spoon. So I cut them all into these rectangles right here. We are going to fill half of them, not all of them, with the preserve right here. And you want to leave about 1/2 inch of rim around each rectangle so that you can close it with the other piece. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do right now. I had here about a tablespoon. I think I'm going to remove some of it. Try not to do what I'm doing here and don't get it around the edges because that might prevent the Pop-Tart from closing, and it will open it up while it's getting baked. Okay, so that looks good. I put about a tablespoon. I'm going to do this for the rest of the Pop-Tarts. Another thing that you are going to need that I forgot about is a pastry brush. We were going to make an egg wash, but I don't have eggs and I couldn't run to the grocery store today, so instead we are going to use water. To make an egg wash, you just need an egg and a couple tablespoons of water, mix it in, and you have an egg wash. Now we are going to brush the perimeter of these filled rectangles with some water or egg wash, just to help the top pastry dough to stick to them. And while you do that, you could also clean up the preserve that you have on the inside if you feel like you might have put some on the edges and you want to take it out. You could do that also. It's a super simple process. These are super easy. If you already have the pie crust ready the day before or the night before, you could just prepare them the next morning, and they make a perfect treat for breakfast, especially on the holidays. I think that's just one of the best breakfasts to have. And now what I'm going to do is put this top rectangle piece right on top of the filled pie crust, or whatever you call it, pastry, and I'm going to press the edges together like this. Oh, and as you can see here, I have some jam and it's stopping me from really sealing it properly, so I just took it off. I did what I told you guys not to do. And you can shape it as you go. And I like to press it with my fingers because if you are trying to do this with a fork, what I notice is this is different than the gluten pastry doughs, and so what would happen is it would just break the crust. Here, let me demonstrate that to you guys. So if you push down, what's going to happen is it's going to break it like this, if you can see. so it broke it, and we don't want that to happen. We just want to press it together, and then we come back with a fork and we just make decorations like this, just to make it look like the Pop Tarts that you would buy from the store. Not that they have gluten-free Pop Tarts, not that I know about, I mean, just like that. You don't want to push again, just like I said, just be very gentle, just to create these pretty shape right here, like this. Okay, so I'm gonna do this to the rest of the Pop Tarts and then I'll come back at you guys. As you can see, I've decorated them on the sides. I don't know if you guys can see or not, but I'm trying to show you. The next step you're going to do is just poke a few holes at the top to allow the air to vent, just like that, because steam is going to be happening in there and when the preserve gets heated, and so it might leak out the sides, and to prevent that from happening, you just create these holes just like you would in a pie. And as we were working with this pie crust, it have warmed up quite a bit, so now we are going to put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes, and while this is happening we are going to preheat our oven. So the oven has been preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and these have been cooled for about 5-10 minutes, whatever is needed to get them cold. And now I'm going to stick them in the oven for 15 minutes on the middle rack. I just want to mention also that if you do have an egg wash, which I don't, you would want to brush the Pop Tarts with some egg wash, and that's just going to give them a nice color. These just came out of the oven and they look and smell delicious. They smell heavenly, seriously. And if I had brushed them with some egg wash, the color would look even better than this, but even with no egg wash, they still look beautiful. So now we are going to let them cool down on the pan for about 3 to 5 minutes, just so that we are able to transfer them onto a cooling rack without them breaking. I doubt they would break, but it would be easier to transfer them onto a cooling rack when, you know, they cool slightly. You know what I'm saying? Alright, now I'm going to transfer these onto a cooling rack. Super easy. They did leak a tiny bit, not that much. I did put a little bit too much of filling inside them, but it's okay. Okay, now we're going to set this aside, and while these are cooling, we're going to work on the icing. We just need 1 cup of powdered sugar. Try not to splash everywhere. And just a tiny bit of almond extract, not too much, because it has a strong taste. Actually, maybe a tiny bit. I didn't actually use a full 1/4 spoon. And some vanilla extract also. You don't have to use almond extract, but I like its taste. But you don't want to use too much of it if you do use it, because it's overpowering. And we also need a couple tablespoons of milk, whichever milk you're using, or heavy cream. And we are going to whisk all this together until it's super smooth and has a pourable consistency. You don't want to put too much liquid, because if you do, what will happen is the icing will not harden in the end, and you want it to harden like it does on the Pop Tarts that you would buy from the store. You see this? It's a pourable consistency. Now you don't want to pour it on the Pop Tart when they're still hot, because what will happen is the icing will melt. So just wait until they're completely cool and then pour it on top of them. I'm just going to set it aside, maybe cover it with something so that it doesn't harden and create a crust on the top. Maybe a cling wrap sprayed with some oil. And then once they're cool, then we'll come back and decorate them. So the Pop Tarts have cooled, and now we can start glazing them. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of glaze right on top. I think I'm going to be fancy. I'm going to use a spoon and put the glaze in the middle. And as I glaze, I'm just going to sprinkle them a little bit. Now they are a little bit warm, so the frosting is going to run, but my baby woke up and I need to be there. Oh, so fun. Pop Tarts are done. In a normal world, we would let the glaze set. Glaze? one is grazing here. Okay, in a normal world, we would let the glaze set so that it would harden on top. But I have to hurry up here. I have hungry children and they want to eat. And so I'm gonna grab a plate and show you guys how it looks like on the inside. So pretty! Look at this. Oh, the light. Isn't that so pretty? Oh, it smells so delicious. Oh, Serenity wants some. Hey Gabriel.
Yeah?
You want to try?
Okay.
Here, I'll give you yours.
Okay, we're okay. Hey. Don't wear it on your head. I love it.
Did you get any of the inside? What does it taste like?
Good.
Very good. And if you guys want the full recipe, head on to glutenfreecooking123.com, and I have the link for this recipe down in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. And if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you again. Okay. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Ow!
She pulled down your hair again.
Yes. Oh, let me pull down your